this is Carolyn with Carolina Crafting, and thank you for coming back for another video tutorial. Today we're going to be making a fun fold. As I mentioned in one of my videos last week, I was supposed to go to a gathering with some other North Carolina demonstrators back in January, but it was canceled due to weather. So this was a card swap that I had planned to make and swap with some other card makers there, and it's a fun fold, and I just want to show you how it opens. I'm not sure, I've seen a couple, this is not my design, I've seen a couple other demonstrators do this one online, so I'm not sure who to give credit to, but I think it's a really fun one. So let's talk about the supplies I used. So to make the card, I used the lovely arrangements, the stamps, and the dies. I also used the textured note dies, and it's the third one from the largest, so the third one in is what I used. I also used the Moody Palette Glossy Dots, and for this one, I didn't use on my sample card, but I'm going to add this beautiful pattern embossing folder as well. Now let's talk about cardstock and paper used. I went ahead and cut most of my cardstock so the video wouldn't get too terribly long. So this is your A2 card base, which is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. You'll also need a piece of cloud cover that is 4 by 5 1/4. You're going to need a piece of basic white that is 5 by 7 7/8. You're going to need a decent sized scrap of the cloud cover, because this is what you're going to use your textured note die to cut a piece out. You're going to need just a scrap piece of the basic white and a small scrap piece of the Mossy Meadow. And then also I'm using the Lovely Blossoms 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. And you're just going to need a piece that coordinates, that's 1 3/4 by 4 3/4. Let's do our die cutting first. So take your card base and decide which side's going to be your front piece, front of the card, and you're going to put that textured note die, just center it, and then I'm going to add just a couple of pieces of low tack tape to hold it in place while I run it through the stamp cut and emboss machine. Okay. And then you've just got that rectangle cut out of your base. Then you're going to get that piece of cloud cover and use the same die to cut out a rectangle from your textured note die. Sorry, made the camera bounce around. And then you're left with this little piece right here that's going to go on the front of your card. Next, you need your little scrap of Mossy Meadow, and you're going to use the leaves from the Lovely Arrangements dies and just cut out a couple of those. And here's the little leaves you have to put on the front of your card. I'm going to put my cut emboss machine away for just a minute because we need to do a little bit of stamping next. So you need that scrap piece of white and some Secret Sea ink. Then you're going to use the 2 flowers that's in the Lovely Arrangement stamp set and just stamp on your piece of scrap white. Okay. Now you're going to come in and just die cut these 2 flowers out. And once again, once I get mine lined up kind of the way I like it, I use a little low tack tape to hold mine in place. And there's your 2 flowers that go on the front of the card. Next, bring in your bigger piece of white paper and you're going to score it. Now, I'm using my scoring board for this, but you can use your paper trimmer with the scoring blade as well. And you're going to score at 2, at 4, and at 6. Now let's do some stamping. I'm going to bring a piece of the grid paper in just so I don't mess up my surface here. And we'll start with the card base, and we're going to use Secret Sea again. Oops. And I'm going to use the smaller flower that's kind of from the side. And I'm going to stamp around just the edges of my frame here on the front. Just kind of random type stamping is all you need. Be sure to turn your stamp several different ways just to create a little more interest. And I'm going to go ahead and fold it so I can get this little edge too without stamping on the back of the card. If you get inside the back of the card in the frame, it's no big deal. That part's not going to show. Okay, I think I like that. Now you're going to bring in the piece of cloud cover that you used your textured note die and cut out a rectangle. And we're going to use the Hello Friend from the same stamp set and stamp it right at the top. Okay. And then also you're going to take the piece of white that you scored, and you'll see you scored at 2, 4, and 6. So each of these panels are 2 inches each, and the last one's just slightly less than 2, like 1 7/8, something like that. So on your, and I like to do my stamping and everything before I put my card together, or even fold it on the score lines, just because if I mess up, I can cut another piece and it's no big deal. So on the 2-inch side, the one that's longer than the other one, at the top, I used just a note, and I'm still using the same die set. Stamp it right at the top. Okay, and that's all of our stamping. And now you'll bring in your piece of designer series paper, and you're going to glue it, just center it in that next scored area and glue it down. Okay, now we can start building our card. I'm going to take this piece out since we're finished stamping. Now before we start putting our card together, we have one more thing we need to do, and that is emboss this piece of cloud cover in the beautiful pattern embossing folder. And there you see that beautiful texture added. Okay, so now we're ready to bring all of our pieces in and get this card assembled. The first thing you're going to do is work with this piece, well actually, first thing we'll glue the textured piece, the embossed piece, down on the back panel of your card. And you're just going to center that in that back panel of your card. Okay. We'll set that aside for just a moment, and we're going to work with this piece of white cardstock. First, you'll just fold this piece that says "Just a Note" right over to the designer series paper. We'll give that a good burnish. Then you're going to take that and fold it back under and burnish that one. Then you're going to open it up, fold that last panel back in. So you'll see it kind of has that kind of shape to it. So we can glue this piece in next. So what you'll do is, again, fold that "Just a Note" over onto the designer series paper, and then you're going to fold that piece under. And this is how it fits in your card. So I want to flip it over, and I'm just going to put glue on this piece of the card that's just underneath "Just a Note." And then to glue it down, you'll center it between the tops and bottoms. This side doesn't have any glue, so I kind of just start with it, center it, and I put it right on the edge of this cloud cover, and then center it between the top and bottom. And when I feel like I've got it pretty well where I want it, then I'll drop that down so the glue can adhere it. Okay? And then next you're going to glue your frame onto the card. And what you'll do is you'll just go around the edge, 3 of these edges of that first, before that first score line. And actually, I'm going to draw it on here just so you can see with a pen where you'll put your glue. You'll just put a little thin layer at the top to the score line, down that side, and the bottom just up to the score line. Okay. And then you'll fold your card over. press it down. You want to make sure that gets a good hold there, because that's part of what makes the mechanism of this fun fold work. And you don't want to open it just yet. Make sure everything gets nice and adhered there. But while we're letting that happen, we can still go ahead and decorate the front. Next, you're going to pop in this piece of cloud cover that you used the same textured note die to cut out the frame for your card, to cut out this piece so it fits right in there perfectly. And you're just going to put glue on this side of that score line. Just right in there, and fit your little piece down in there. Okay, and once again, we want to make sure it gets adhered well, so we're not going to open the card just yet. We'll finish decorating the front and give it time to get a good adhere well, so that when we open the card, everything stays together. Okay, next we're going to decorate with the flowers. So we'll bring those in and just kind of decide how we want them. That looks pretty good. The smaller flower, I just used my liquid glue to glue it down to the front. And then the other flower, I used my dimensionals. Can't remember how I had it. Maybe like that. Nope. That looks good. Okay. And then we can bring our leaves and put them in. And I'm going to fit those in right there on the left side of my card. My glue don't want to come out. There we go. Just use a little bit. We'll stick them in right there. Okay, I think I'll put the other one in. Oh, I think I got my dimensional there. Yep. Maybe I can stick it right there. There we go. All right. And now all that's left is just using some of the dots to dress it up a little bit more. So one there. Okay, there we go. And then when you open it up, you'll see the front peeks through inside, and on the outside you have that pretty piece of Designer Series paper there as well. And here's the example that I started with. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. I believe this is the first, maybe the first fun fold tutorial I've made on here. So if you like them, maybe we'll do a few more. But I appreciate you watching, and I hope you'll come back for the next video. Thank you.